Welcome to Brutal Gaming. Enjoy the clip.
Get to go, bro.
It's just the brutal way.
If you didn't know it, ladies and gentlemen, to travel while black, you must download. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Traveling While Black. Now, I wasn't gonna do this game because I don't like to do the race baity thing and everything else. But I read some of the comments, and it looked like it was gonna be a good game and not racy. So, let's go. I guess racy is not the word. We'll see how it goes. Everything's by now. Yeah. Oh, hey, I think I'm in a theater. All right. I like theaters. I hope I don't stay in here, though. Black and white films.
The Negro Motorist Green Book, first published in 1936, was a critical guide for African Americans traveling during the 40s, 50s, and early 60s.
Okay.
It was created by a Harlem postal worker, Victor Green, and his colleagues who gathered a listing of restaurants, bars, hotels, and private homes that welcome black travelers across the country. In a time where Americans started hitting the road, African Americans faced restrictions as they traveled. Although you could purchase a car, you couldn't get gas, stay in hotels, or eat in restaurants. Travel was difficult and dangerous.
Okay. Am I going to experience that, or am I
Ben's
just watching?
Chili Bowl at 1213 U Street, Washington, D.C. was originally a silent movie theater called the Minnehaha. It was later featured in the Green
Mine, the
Book
IMAX?
as a pool
It's just
hall.
got 3D.
Since 1958, Ben's Chili Bowl has continued the legacy of the Green Book,
Oh, shit.
providing a refuge for the whole community.
Is this really Washington, D.C. in whatever time I'm in?
I was born in Washington, D.C. in 1939 in a segregated hospital.
Okay.
I lived in a segregated neighborhood, and I went to a segregated school. First, I didn't realize any difference because all the people around me looked like me. And I was comfortable with that until I realized that I was being discriminated against. We couldn't shop downtown at the major stores. You couldn't try on clothes. You couldn't try on hats.
Hey.
Because if you tried them on, they didn't want you to get grease on the hats. You know, we oil our hair. And our makeup is dark. And so they didn't want us to try on clothes because you might get makeup on the clothes. I remember being about 7, maybe 10 years old.
Can I get a burger
in the
while I'm
Hex
here?
department store
Maybe a
when
Slurpee?
a little girl called me a nigger and spat on me.
What?
And I couldn't retaliate. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do
I mean, you
anything.
could've,
I was
but-
so angry inside, but I couldn't do anything about it because I knew that it would be blamed on me.
I beat the shit out that little girl. Spit on me like that. Boot you in the face. What? Oh, are you my friends? What's up, friends?
The Green Book was a guide for African Americans to travel safely, to find shelter, food, and gas in
Oh,
a
I put a
time when
menu in
these
the way. I can't
basic
see
rights
myself.
were not guaranteed.
She kind of looks like Tina Turner.
Washington, D.C. had more listings in the Green Book than any other city in this
All right.
country. The 1213 U Street was listed in the Green Book, and that's why we're sitting here in Ben's Chili Bowl at 1213 U Street today.
Friends.
From the very day that we opened up to the current time, it's still a safe haven for people.
Chili Bowl 85 years.
And we invited the community in, and we started with the neighborhood young men that thought this was
Oh, my
home for
girlfriend's
them.
got old as
They
fuck.
always sat over there in that corner.
I
There
like
was
the hat
always
and stuff though. Like, that's a good
6,
color.
8, 10 of them every evening from different walks of life in the community. When someone spilled something on the floor and their staff was busy, one of them took care of it, would go in the back of them up.
I feel like
If
she's
we were
gonna
running
touch
out
me
of
with her
ice,
hand.
said, hey, Joe, go get some ice for
See,
me.
look, she's
kind
about
of
to stick her
place.
finger in my mouth.
That was the beginning of the building of a relationship with this community. These young guys that found this to be home. As soon as they started to broadcast professional basketball, put the TV up for them to keep them here. So they wouldn't have to go see that game someplace else. We didn't have TVs on Bench Boulevard, but that was for them. And that brought in that segment of our community. And then, of course, this being the strong, close-knit community that it was.
Close-knit.
when
See,
you
that's
came
what we
here
need,
for
is
each other,
close-knitness.
You ran into a friend.
Is that word knitness? Oh, I'm behind the counter now.
Particularly in the early 50s. When we would leave Washington, D.C. on the train, we could sit anywhere on the train until you got to the Virginia line. And when you get to the Virginia line, you had to go to the last train on the back. And I remember being so frustrated because we could not eat on the highway. If the train stopped, we couldn't eat. We couldn't relieve ourselves on the train. You either had to hold it or relieve yourself sitting there, and then you're wet when the train stopped. You would
I mean,
get
you
off
can't
the
just
train,
find a corner to
and
pee
you would
in?
relieve yourself
They're involved.
outside, almost like you would if you were a dog.
That's fucked.
And that's the way, basically, I thought that white people felt about me as a black African American or Negro woman or whatever, nigger woman or whatever, that they felt like I was not human, not a human being, that I was less than a human being. I see people treat their dogs better now. Right now, they treat the dogs better than they treated us as black Americans.
But you're not a slave right now. And people are more compassionate.
Well, you know, one of the things that I remember was
Then other
traveling
people.
from Southwest Georgia down to Mississippi. And this was right after Miss Hamer had been beaten. I mean, they dragged her off the bus and beat her. And, you know, I mean, crippled her. And
Oh,
one
my
of the
friends are
things
dudes
that
now.
I remembered on that bus, I felt
Bet you
that
that's
two
your
things.
phone, isn't it,
First,
little buddy?
I had to sit in the front of the bus, just like you.
Bet you that's better than my phone.
But second, I also was in my head saying, you
Oh,
know, what am
is
I
that
going
me?
to do if these people come on the bus and try to treat me like Miss Hamer? And one of the things I was very clear
Look
about
at that hat.
is that I was not getting off the
I bet
bus
you I could rock
and
that
going to any of these places to try to use the bathroom. I was not going to get off the bus to try to try to get anything to eat. I knew enough to pack a lunch before I got on that bus. Now, it
Why
was
are you
a 10-hour
giggling
ride
about that,
from
bruh?
Albany, Georgia, down to
Pleasant
Jackson, Mississippi.
memories.
But,
Yes,
I mean,
pleasant
it
memories.
was,
Look at that
you
guy.
know,
He's an asshole.
It was really tough trying to not only deal with the question of where you're going to go to the bathroom, where you're going to go eat, but whether if you exercised your right under the law, whether somebody was going to come up there and try to assault you. That was a reality that we wanted to change. I mean, I remember I was maybe 14 years old when I started seeing the challenge, the real challenge in Montgomery with the bus boycott, with Rosa Parks, just in terms of local transportation and interstate transportation, we had to face people telling us, you're not good as we are. And now, because of people who got on the bus and challenged, you know, the institutions that were developed, we now you can dream big. You can dream bigger than we could dream. We, you know, was important. I mean,
He's talking to you.
the biggest thing that we were
I'm a
able to
menu
do,
again.
and you know, and Frank can tell you this, Biggest thing we
Was
were
that your name,
able to
Frank?
do is we were able to say, you cannot block our dreams. Now, we couldn't say what our dreams were, but we could say,
I mean,
you
you
can't
could.
block our dreams. You can't tell us what we can't do. We're going to kick down all these barriers. Those barriers could be life-threatening. Every trip through America for a black person during those times was potentially fatal. It seemed like many people were out to hurt us or even kill us just because we're black.
I think I remember seeing that video on YouTube.
The assumption
YouTube
is
first
at some time it stopped.
That's fucked, dude.
And that's not the case.
They
It
still
never
do that
stopped.
shit to like everybody now, though.
That's a
Anybody who didn't stop.
continuous thing. That hasn't changed since the beginning of the relationship that exists
Whoa.
here between
Oh, there are
blacks and
riots
whites
outside
in
right
the
now.
United States. It's like a river that keeps flowing, and we don't really see all of it. But at the end of the day, it's something that started back in slavery and continues today.
Okay.
Young black people don't have the green book in front of them, but they have it in their head. Well, you're no longer looking at, no Negroes allowed and stuff like that, but you're looking at the same thing which says, these are barriers here, and then people feel that if you cross these barriers, they have a right to kill you.
That's crazy. Wow.
Tamir was such a energetic kid, at 12 years old. He would actually get up in my arms as big as he was and let me hold him and kiss him and squeeze all on him.
So that day when you got the knock on the door, what happened?
Oh, I have girlfriends again.
So I was actually coming from the store and putting groceries up, and a knock came at the door. Two little boys told me that my son was shot by the police. And I was like in denial. I'm like, no, you're not talking about my kids. My kids is at the rec playing. And my oldest
sound like a
son was
Detroit
laying on
mother.
his couch. He wasn't feeling well, but he ran out right past me. I guess he heard it in the little boy's voice. And he ran out before me, and I'm still trying to get my coat and my shoes on, talking about my kids is playing. And surely enough, as I walk across the street around a little track where I could see the kids, my son is laying on the ground with 10 police officers surrounding him, and my daughter is screaming in the back of the police car, and they have my other son surrounded, and they put him in the back of the police car. So it was terrible. That's how that day turned out. The police asked me, when they asked me, they told me to calm down, or they were gonna put me in the back of the police car. 'Cause I was
How do
trying to
you
get to my
remain
son.
calm?
They never let me get to him. They also let me ride in the front seat as a passenger
Of the police car,
of the ambulance.
of the ambulance.
So I never even got a chance to get back, close to my son, to hold his hand, to kiss him and let him know that it was going to be all right. I don't know what they were doing.
So he was in the back of the ambulance and you were in the front.
Yeah, I was in the front like a passenger.
What kind of service were they giving Tamir at the scene?
I don't know because they were surrounding him.
They were surrounding him. And
I
the officers,
couldn't really see.
what were the officers doing? They were just standing there?
Well, they were just blocking me, not letting me go towards him and telling me
They
to
do that to
calm
everybody with a
down. And
camera
I'm
now. It's
telling
crazy.
them you need to let my kids out the car. They're minors and stuff like that. And like I told them, they gave me an
As a
ultimatum
parent, man, I would
to
just
stay at the
freak
scene of the
fuck
crime
out,
with
like,
the other two children.
Oh, you're gonna
or
go to
with
jail. You're gonna
Tamir.
have to knock me out
I
first.
choose to go with Tamir, and I had to leave two children at the scene of a crime.
What? Whoa! He just jumped out and started shooting? What? That's crazy as fuck. I ain't seen that before.
Everybody's seen what happened to my son. You know, they didn't even want to release that tape. My attorney had to threaten them to release the tape, and after that tape was released, it just went worldwide.
What did you see on that tape? Like, what was your reaction to it?
My
just
son
seen a
was
cop
scared
jump out
when
of a
they
car.
rolled up. He was scared, and he shrugged his shoulders like this. They tried to say he was reaching for his waistband. He wasn't reaching for nothing. When you roll up fast like that, you scared him.
Absolutely.
And that's what I see. My
He
son
was just
scared.
like stuck. He was just like,
Yeah, like what did I do?
Right.
Yeah,
Right, he
so,
got up to talk to the cop. I did the
yeah,
same thing in
that's-
Scout
that's,
Park daily when
I
they
would
took
never
my
get
weed
that
from
vision
me.
out my head. That's devastating. I play it over and over again. Also, with the picture of him
She's
laying
looking
on the
like dead
gurney, and
staring
they
at
would
me.
not allow me to touch him because they said he was evidence.
Yeah,
So I
evidence
didn't
of them
even
just
get a
shooting him.
chance to touch him or none of that.
so
you know.
no,
No
glass
kiss goodbye,
hug, kiss,
no nothing, no pillow, no nothing. So they said he was evidence, so I couldn't touch him. And I don't really know how that works.
What
Evidence that
ultimately
they're
happened
murderers.
to
They
Tamir's
can't let
body?
you touch it.
So I had to get Tamir. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to get him cremated.
Chose.
I don't really think I told anyone that, but I don't want to leave my son in Cleveland when I leave Ohio. So I will be taking him and my mother with me. And yeah, I have them in urns in my house.
Wow, this happened
So
in
to take
Ohio?
him everywhere that you go,
Yeah.
every stage of the rest
See,
of your
even
life.
more reason
Yeah,
not
he
to
has
go
to
there.
go with me.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, because he just has to go. I wasn't finished raising him, you know. I wasn't finished nourishing him, and America robbed me.
Nuh-uh, Ohio
Yeah, they
robbed you.
robbed me.
America didn't have nothing to do with it.
So when people talk about the American dream,
It's only a
what do
dream
you
because you
call
got to be
it?
asleep to have
A
it.
nightmare, especially if you're black. Yeah.
I guess. Oh, there's a whole second room to this diner? Dude, this place is huge.
Traveling while black means to me that discrimination, segregation is still alive and well. And that even though I don't have to
Discrimination,
have
yeah,
the green book
segregation
to
and,
guide me to a
kind of,
black
yes.
person's house, and I can stay in any hotel I want, but
Yeah.
just think about the people who have been killed while traveling black. A young man who was involved in the schools in the area where he lived, killed in front of his fiancee and their child, traveling while black. Traveling while black, I'm driving down the highway and the police decide to stop me. Even though I'm an elderly black woman, I could be killed just because I'm black, and don't give them the answer that they want. Traveling while black in America is still happening. And I am really frightened for black men traveling while black. I wonder, when does it end?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that was that's like the end. We got the credits going now. Wow. Interesting story. I mean, I'm not black or anything, but I remember being picked on because I'm a quote unquote dirtbag, torn up jeans, long hair, up to no good. They just beat the shit out of me though and take my shit. They You know, so I mean, it's tragic, but yeah, something. I feel like that they said they were in Washington, but I feel like the whole story was in Detroit. That's kind of fucked. So, because I'll wait for it to cycle over to the main menu again if that's going to be a thing. All right, that was Traveling While Black. That interesting story. I kind of figured it was just kind of an experience thing, so to have on here. So it's very interesting. I know it's not February or anything, but it's a cool game, cool concept. So it's absolutely free on the Oculus Store. Definitely go check it out and see for yourself. I mean, it's not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be a little more like actual experience and not just being told a story. But yeah. Anyways, leave a comment down below if there's more games like this that you want to see. Let me know about it, and I will see you guys in the next episode of whatever I make. Peace.